look at me a second. Look at me.
Yes.
Focus on me.
Okay.
Okay? Don't refer in emails, texts, or during this segment. Look at me. Don't call Liz Swain Lizzo.
Why
Don't.
can't I call her Lizzo? It's a good nickname.
1017 FM, 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright, and Aaron McCarty. Guests on Keel are heard via the Jack Spring Electric Keel Newsmaker hotline.
Oh, my.
Sorry, just trying to move on to the next thing, and because it seems time.
Yeah.
Yesterday, council meeting, Cross Bayou plan, $1.5 billion, blah, 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 goes down to defeat for the time being. The vote was 4-3.
Yes, it was.
Voting again the project were Lavette Fuller, Grayson Butcher, John Nicholson, James Fleury.
Yep.
Voting for Willie Bradford, Jerry Bowman, James Green.
Yep.
Interestingly, and you've been texting a lot of folks back and forth this morning.
My phone is just fiery today.
This was at my behest because one of the statements made by Gateway, Louisiana guy, Larry English, I guess, on the way out, "We'll be back. You haven't heard the last from us." Was there a bit of arrogance to that, or am I just reading too much between the lines?
No, I don't think it's arrogance. I think he doesn't want to give up. He wants to keep going. He's invested money. They have money invested. Now, I did reach out to Mr. English, Mr. Pratt, and the others at Gateway, inviting them to join us on the air today, and they said they would like to debate Miss Fuller on the air.
After they called her all those names.
Yeah, to which she declined.
Yeah.
She said, "I'm not going to dignify, their actions from yesterday. It speaks for themselves."
But if Mr. English wants to wander in, if Mr.
Or
Paul wants to come see us.
Or on the phone, we'll be happy to. But they have, to this point, they have said they only want to debate Fuller, which to me would be just an insult war. And who wants to do that? But I've invited she knows she's welcome, and she has said no to that.
Imagine that. Now, you did, in fact, at my behest, started to say, since Mr. English said, "We'll be back. You haven't heard the last of us." And Mr. Bradford has not responded to previous texts.
And I actually called him this morning, and it went to voicemail.
So you texted Mr. Jerry Bowman a yay vote. What did you ask? What was his response?
I said, "Do you feel strongly enough about Cross Bayou to reintroduce the legislation?" To which he said, "No, I do not."
So now we're down to 2.
Well, he at least won't reintroduce it. Would he
Will
vote for it again? He might.
Somebody's got to reintroduce first. So will Willie Bradford reintroduce the Cross Bayou proposal?
Any council member can put something on the agenda.
Yeah, but the 4 that voted against it are not, and now we know that Bowman is 5.
Right.
So now we're down to 2. Will it be Green? Will it be Bradford? Will it happen at all?
I don't know.
Now,
the most poignant part of the day yesterday. Well, let me play a hateful cut that you may have heard in the news this morning.
Is hateful too strong a word?
No, this is pretty hateful. This is from Craig Lee, who's a community activist, and he's very much in favor of Cross Bayou, saying it brings economic development and jobs, and he directed his comments to Lavette Fuller and to the residents of her district. You got my computer on over there, Rube? Here's Craig Lee.
And I hope the voters of District B understand from this day forward, you don't send a piccolo player and a ballerina to fight Mike Tyson.
Looks to me,
the record, Lavette Fuller doesn't play the piccolo, she said.
Looks to me like the ballet dancer won.
The ballet dancer did win. Round 1. Are we in round 1? Round 2 to come?
Depends on what Bradford and or Green do, doesn't it?
The most eloquent of the day, though, I think, if I'm going to give out a trophy, goes to Liz Swain, who was...
Because she said what you said.
Well, a lot of people texted me that Liz Swain was great. Her comments were great.
Oh, believe me, they were.
And here is when she stood up, she addressed Mr. Bradford directly.
Councilman Bradford, we had a conversation yesterday, and I would like to share again that I was both angry and very sad to hear your comments yesterday, and I shared that with you. I am angry and I am sad when any comments are directed to any of you in regards to your work that fall to hurtful or threatening or racist. We are better than that, and we should be better than that. My organizations, as you well know, represent downtown Shreveport, and we do it because we love it. We represent property owners, we represent businesses, business people, residents, all the people who utilize downtown Shreveport to live, work, and play. I have 2 boards. They have each and every person on my boards looked at all of the information that has been available to all of us in the public realm about Cross Bayou. They've looked at the presentations, they have seen the presentations by Gateway. Every one of them have come to the same conclusion unanimously that this project is very flawed. They believe that this project is going to hurt downtown, not help, hurt downtown. They believe this project will move jobs around, and they believe that the chances are better than good, that this is going to cost taxpayers significant dollars in the long run.
Liz Swain, of course, she's executive director of the Downtown Development Authority.
But then Mr. Willie kind of doubled down. He said, well, basically, he said, so what's the racial makeup of your committees? What's the racial makeup of your groups?
That was petty, but that's okay.
But isn't that doubling down on what he had said on Monday?
No, I wasn't nearly as harsh as what he said Monday.
Wasn't he in perhaps a more subtle way saying to her, just a bunch of white folks still trying to keep the black man down? Wasn't he saying that to her? What's the racial makeup? Aaron McCarty, you're against Cross Bayou. Mm-hmm. It's just because you're white, you're trying to keep the black man down.
No.
What's the difference between what he said to her, what I just said to you, and what he said on Monday?
Well, it's ill-informed for him to stand there and act like white people appointed the boards. No, they were appointed by African-American mayors, and a city council approved it.
One more really, really good point.
This is a really big point.
By Miss Liz.
Mm-hmm. This is, let me just let it speak for itself, because I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
The principals in the Cross Bayou Group have stated in public conversation on more than one occasion that they have spent $5 million to get to this point, If today's resolution passes, it gives them redress in a legal fashion. If there is no agreement reached, they can say that the city did not negotiate in good faith, and they can seek legal redress, and that would put citizens on the line as well. There are too many unknowns, there are too many unanswered questions, there are too many reasons to oppose this, and we ask you to do that today.
So after it went down to defeat, 4-3, on the way out the door, Larry English once again, Gateway, Louisiana. You haven't heard the last from us. We will be back. Yes. So the question is, who's going to introduce it? Who will reintroduce? We know it's not going to be Jerry Bowman, though he was a yes vote. Mm-hmm. Will it be Willie Bradford? Will it be James Green? We've contacted them both. Will they be the ones? We'll see if they tell us.
Yep.